Dolphin fans, I am back with some Miami Dolphins content. I know it's been some time, but I'm here to begin the offseason talk, kind of from the Dolphins dive. So today's video is going to be on which free agents the Miami Dolphins should bring back. Some future episodes you should expect from me include the Dolphins' top needs, what our cap space will look like, free agents to target, draft, all of that. Comment any video ideas you'd like to see down below, but I'm going to hop into the free agents that the Dolphins have pending and which ones they should look to bring back. I'm going to start on the offensive side of the ball and some key free agents in terms of snap counts that we are losing on the offensive side of the ball. And it's starting with everybody's favorite position, the offensive guard spot. The Dolphins' three top guards are all free agents between Isaiah Wynn, Robert Jones, and fan favorite Liam Eichenberg.
What did you just say?
Once again, I know there's a lot of disdain for the guard position, and it obviously needs to be upgraded. With that said, I would enjoy if the Dolphins brought one of these players back as a depth piece. We're talking seventh or eighth offensive lineman to be a backup, because obviously having scheme familiarity, these guys have been in the system, and being in a backup role would not be the worst case scenario to see one of those three offensive linemen brought back. Now, the positive note for the Dolphins, which there's been a lot of pessimism around, is in terms of offensive free agents, those are the three biggest names. So the Dolphins really aren't losing much on the offensive side of the ball and should be looking to upgrade the guard position and can honestly look to be a lot better on the offensive side of the ball. In terms of the defense, that is where a lot of the problems come down, because we are losing some key players on the defensive side of the ball due to free agency. None more notable than safety Jevon Holland, who is a young player set to hit free agency. And if I'm going to be honest, I highly doubt the Dolphins bring him back due to the kind of contract that Jevon Holland is going to get. He's a young player with a good skill set. Now, I know us Dolphins fans are a little low on him based on this past season where he had a down year, lots of missed tackles and whatnot. But once again, he's still a ascending player, and I think he's going to get a pretty large contract in free agency, somewhere around the Xavier McKinney dollar amount. He's a young player, similar skill set in terms of the athletic upside. So I would not be surprised if the Dolphins lose Jevon Holland in free agency. And that's going to cause the Dolphins to have to overhaul the safety position. With both Jordan Poyer and Jevon Holland both set to be free agents, the Dolphins are going to have to improve that position. Now, the Dolphins could bring back Jevon Holland. It's not going to be cheap, or they could look to explore some other free agent options. That's for another video. But there's a solid amount of safeties that are set to become free agents. So I'm curious to see how this market lands. Obviously, like I said, just based on the athletic upside as well as the age, I expect Jevon to get a big contract. However, if for whatever reason his market doesn't shake out to be what I kind of expect, and you can kind of sign him for like the $10 to $12 million range, I'd heavily consider it, because like I said, I think Jevon Holland's best football is ahead of him. We've seen the flashes in the Dolphins uniform. He just hasn't fully put it together, and I think that's going to happen, whether that's with his next team or not. But that's obviously one of the biggest free agents that we're going to lose. Calais Campbell's the next one. Obviously, the 37-year-old future Hall of Famer had a tremendous season with the Miami Dolphins and really helped kind of fill that position that Christian Wilkins left, and honestly did it at the same, if not better level, for quite the difference in pay. I would love Calais Campbell back. My gut tells me that I don't think he's going to retire, but I don't necessarily see him wanting to return to the Dolphins. I see him wanting to really push to be on a team that, not that the Dolphins aren't Super Bowl contenders, but someone that's more up in that echelon, whether it's someone like the Chiefs, Eagles, Bills, someone that's been in the top four recently that he can really have a chance to win a Super Bowl with. And once again, if he actually wants to come back to the Dolphins, I would make that move in a heartbeat, obviously expecting the Dolphins not overpaying all that much. Another key free agent on the defensive side of the ball is linebacker Tyrel Dodson, who we signed off of waivers from the Seahawks, and in his role with the Dolphins did pretty good. Now, I'm all for the Dolphins bringing him back, but not with the notion that he's going to be the second linebacker next to Jordan Brooks, that he's going to compete for the job. I think the thing the Dolphins need to create all along this roster is competition, because competition breeds excellence and it forces the cream to rise to the top. So if you sign Dotson and he gets beat out by a rookie, so be it. But I think he'd be a good piece to have as competition in that linebacker room that is going to be pretty vacant outside of Jordan Brooks, who we need someone to pair up with him. And then really the only other big free agent is Emmanuel Ogbah, who we signed at the beginning of training camp. He did a serviceable job. He played through some injury and played a lot of snaps, was solid against the run, but I would look for more upside in terms of the pass rushing ability. I made a tweet today really commending the job that Anthony Weaver did with this defense. We were 4th in total yards allowed, despite him pretty much having a lackadaisical pass rush due to the fact that we had Chop Robinson, who did a tremendous job in the back half of the season. But aside from him, we didn't have a lot of great pass rushing upside due to Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips obviously being injured. So once again, I think Weaver did a good job. Agba, I wouldn't hate if you bring him back on a very cheap deal as competition, but I kind of look for them to maybe get younger at that position in terms of that role on this defense. And then some other notable guys on this defense is nose tackle Benito Jones, who did a very serviceable job. I would not hate bringing him back on. He shouldn't be too expensive. And then in a similar note, Deshaun Hand, who was a rotational defensive lineman for us, who once again was very good for us. He was really our 3rd defensive lineman, and he did a great job in that role. Once again, would not hate to bring him back. And I think the defensive line is a perfect note of what I'm trying to say is we had basically 5 guys that we signed to 1-year deals on the defensive line and let them battle it out throughout training camp to see who would win those roster spots. And that position group did a pretty good job, considering like it's not like it was a lot of money or high expectations from that group, and they did a good job. So I'd like to kind of see that elsewhere on this roster. In terms of other free agents who are lower level or I do not expect back, include Jordan Poyer, Duke Riley, Braxton Berrios, Saran Neal, Jeff Wilson, Elijah Campbell, Anthony Walker. River Craycraft probably gets brought back on a cheaper deal, and then Tyler Huntley. So in terms of free agents, the Dolphins aren't in too bad of shape on the offensive side of the ball. The defense, they're going to have a lot of holes to fill, albeit not that expensive due to the positions that they play or the quality of player that we're replacing. So in terms of free agents I'd expect to bring back one of those guards, and then maybe Tyrell Dotson, Benito Jones, and Deshaun Hand. Those are the kind of guys I would expect back, and some of those lower level guys like a River Craycraft. But in terms of the high profile guys, I don't expect Javon Holland back in the aqua and orange. Comment your thoughts down below. Which free agents do you want to see us prioritize and bring back? Comment your thoughts down below. Appreciate you guys for watching. Like and subscribe to help the channel grow. And until next time, fins up.